one of the things that went viral was a discussion on Jesus and the crucifixion. So I want to ask y'all, in terms of the crucifixion and in terms of this mystical, I mean, this character we call Jesus, we keep hearing stories after stories, images after images. One image, he's black. One image, he looks like a white homosexual. Another image, he looks Middle Eastern. I mean, we see all types of images. We hear all types of different accounts and stories. 33 crucified saviors. I mean, I hear all types of different things. What is, according to your historical knowledge, what went down with this? What went down with this event, this crucifixion event, that totally impacted how we live today? Because everybody talks about it constantly. Jesus' name is mentioned constantly. He's one of the most famous people. This name or this energy just completely dominates the globe. So according to what y'all have studied, and it could be different, that don't mean both of y'all are wrong, but according to what you have studied, what could you tell me about this? And I know people are going to say it's an allegory. Yeah, it could be an allegory, but it could be an allegory, and something could have happened at the same time. What is your account of what went down with Jesus in this crucifixion story?
Rod, if I may, just
go ahead.
Yes, Sevan, you got the floor.
I came here to hear you and to talk to you. So
you got the floor, Sevan. Come on, brother.
I just want to say this for the record.
Yes, sir.
If I'm going to debate or argue anything, you're going to have to prove to me first that even exists.
Okay.
Or else it's almost like a fool's errand in the first place, because I would literally be arguing over something that still hasn't been proven. And I'm saying, prove to me that this variant of Jesus or the Christ actually even existed. So we'll start there.
Yes, sir.
But for the deeper level of this, we still have to remember, eidolons are simply when people concentrate their energy into images and symbols, and it does become very much alive. So whether the average Christian will admit that, yeah, it's not the story at all, because the story is originally taken from the Naga. The story is originally about the coming forth by day. There's deep knowledge about just the process of what it takes to even raise up a people, the crocodile fat, the Mashiach, the Kundalini, right? So if the only thing that we would be talking about is the difference between the exoteric explanation of Kundalini as the Christ versus an esoteric explanation as of a king, a physical king, as an evangel or a go-between between man and all there is. We'll put it that way.
Yes,
and
sir.
what could happen if somehow whoever you have filtering that information through you to you is not the firstborn of your own family line? And because that's how such things were always governed. The Messiah arrived in families, like the Kwisatz Haderachs and all of this, right? They got families where mystics are born in those families and guide that family lineage. As it says, you could stay behind even if your soul is powerful enough to still want to protect your family, and you will become the protecting spirit of your family in the middle plane. So that's all I just wanted to add on this before this got into anything else, was just that one, you would have to prove that version to me for sure, because that that version is not the one. Even the one in Ethiopia, which is what King James took from, and his father took from, and Charlemagne took from, the one in Ethiopia, which was from the Negus. That's why they have the Negus, the king of the kings. This is before even Menelik. This is before even Sheba. It's about these black-headed ones, these people that they would say in the markets that they had these designs and gems and jewelry and all that, but you never saw them. The aquatic ones, you see what I mean? That seeded in many ways the Delta and all throughout that region, all the way up into Sri Lanka. And if you want to prove it, you could go here to Dr. Srinivasan, and you can even see how the language of Tamil connects all the way into the Sumerian. And you can also see how the Kola kings, which are the Naga kings and princes, rebelled against their mother at a certain stage.
Put a pin right there. Repeat that one more time.
the Kola kings or the Naga kings in the latter dynasties rebelled against their mother.
Against who?
Their mother.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you put emphasis on that. That's important. Okay, go ahead.
And the rest, as with anything, when you start moving big time pieces out of the way, starts really faltering from there, because it's the simple fact that this is where we're all at right now. It's about how we really treat our elders and feel about our elders. And this society has really forgot about, because sometimes when you get an elder in the house, even these days, some people are like, yo, where is he going to work, or who's going to keep him, or whatever. And they trying to figure out where the value is in the elder. You'll get the check from him. But the value in our elders and restoring that line is just in the most basic way. They've just gone through 60 years. You could count that as human years. But now they're with all that experience, and they will love to teach that experience to the young. And then now he's got that experience and he grows from there. So that's the basics. But even beyond that, if you neglect who your father is, like they say in the book of the Saxons, like our dark fathers, and this is the book of Saxony, right, where Coburg and Gotha and all those German families come from. If you remove that link, regardless of what happened and how you feel, you will be disconnected. That's just how it works. And so another thing to just add in to be finished, because we were talking about now these paths and these roles that when you come into these matrices, we have now completely discovered that even the tarot in itself is an addition to the original, what you would call original tarot, which is just the calendar or the wheel or the times and the cycles that it takes to move around the sun, and the energy in which comes into the planet during all those times, specifically 52 weeks in a year, right? But then when we have a 78 deck, which they added 26 more cards, you got 26 letters in the English language. I'm showing proof, I'm gonna upload this tomorrow, that they literally add a new program of characters: a devil, a wheel of fortune, a hierophant, a fool, all these characters. Now, true, like I'm not saying like, yo, and this is where the evil is. I'm saying there's more characters in the game now. And so in many ways, when we take into those original numbers and those original roles, that's where we'll find our comfort, because that's who we are. We're in that originality. So that's I just want to add that. I want to go with that today.
Got you. Excellent.
What's the name of the story that you asked us about?
That I asked you about?
Yeah, that we're talking about right now. What was the name of the story?
Just the Jesus and the crucifixion story. The whole
Crucifixion story?
Yeah. Like what went down.
Do you know in Latin, crucifixion is crux and fiction, or fictitio, right? Crux means the center or the key point of something.
Right.
Fiction means it's made up. Let that sink in for a second.
Gotcha.
Crux mean at the center of something. Fiction means something somebody made up. And if they make it up and they tell it as agreed, it's called a story. Right? So they telling you in the name of the story, the validation of its fictional status. They telling you it's false. Right? That's why I wanted to make sure I pointed out that this was a war against the great mother. So when he was reciting it, I wanted him to go over it, put a pin in it. So that would change the whole dynamic. If there was never a J created under King James, we wouldn't be calling him or her Jesus. Because in Greek, I-E-S-O-U-S, Isis, applying the rules of grammar and pronunciation, it says Isis, right? So when you go to the historical narrative, you have something called the acts. What is an act? An act is a part of a play, right? And in a play, you have what's called the key characters. In this case, the key characters, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are four different perspectives. They can't be looking at the same thing because they're not even given the same genealogy in the two books they give it of this person. That's because they're talking about two people. Because in the one book, they say the child was born and they called it named Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Why they stop calling him that? Where he go? So when you go to the words in red, you have what's called blatant contradiction of philosophical ideas. That means two people with two different messages is talking in the words in red.
Exactly. Exactly.
What do you mean, Rod? Go to Matthew 10:34. I come not to bring peace, but a sword. I come to set at a variant, mother against daughter, father against son. Right? Then a little later on, somebody's still talking about, I came to join the family together and bring love into the world and all that. That's not the same person.
Or
so
God
now,
is not confusion,
right?
And let us go down and confuse them.
Yep.
And it goes on and on and on like this.
So because ain't nobody study forensic profiling, psychological forensic analysis on their free time. I'm the only idiot that would decide to do that on my free time and get good at it. Right? So now we looking at a story, it's two people. That's this righteous person, but it's two people. And they got two different ways of dealing with it. One say, pray for your enemies and love thy enemy as thyself. The other one say, go
save $5 on that.
Say, go sell off your garments, buy up swords and knives. We about to take these to war. Right? So you looking at two different characters, forensically speaking, because they're not telling you the same story or the same idea. But the concealment is put both of their words in red. Now, Emmanuel, meaning God with us, that's Heru, because it came from the coming forth by day. All of the epithets of Christ in the Bible are all of the epithets of my mother Isis in the coming forth by day.
Okay.
Right? And some of the epithets apply to Horus. Right? His goal is to go from Kephra to Aten, right? So he going from the rising to the highest peak. This is in the zodiac wheel, you using the tarot cards to walk what's called the fool's journey. It is a blueprint and a roadmap, a yellow brick road to the destination, which is the throne of the Great Mother. And along the way, you have to figure out how to make sure that they can't stop her from receiving her throne as her son. That's the Horus story. Right? Now, they're showing you the pictures in the church of who they stole the story from. But you don't see it because they don't put that on public display. They display it in the Pope's chambers, the Black Madonna and Child. Right? Original bloodline, firstborn of the earthborn, parthogenic son of the Great Mother. Her forever redeemer. These people that Sevan Bomar was talking about in the families are called kinsmen redeemers or family redeemers. Right? And this is their job, is to find out their family's inheritance and who did it, where they at, and how you get it back. Now, they know who's rightful heirs to the earth as the Madonna and Child, the mother and the son. The son is receiving rulership rights from the mother. He's not taking over. He's supporting her wisdom in the application of government, right? So you go through this journey. All of these are steps, but they are concealed in the fool's journey, which is actually the flip side, is the hero's journey. And the journey is the journey back to self, right? And all of the pantheon are family members that all of them is giving you the go-ahead to sit on the throne. Now, if you look close in the center, you see Tawaret here. That's the Great Mother in the 13th zodiac seat, right? And this is a replica of the Temple of Dendera. She's the one that's the hippopotamus with the alligator spine. The alligator spine means she stand up straight. That means she a straight up woman. She don't mince meat with what she's saying. She telling you what she telling you. She got a cleaver in her right hand, right? She got a hippopotamus, the protective mother, in the mammary glands of a woman. That's Big Mama, right? All of these are tied to the original zodiac, which comes from the totem systems of using totem animals to read energy in the environment.
Right.
So these zodiac animals came from the totem animals of the original tribes of the earth tribes, of which there's 12 daughters of Isis, meaning 12 feminine bloodlines of mitochondria. Right? And they all been interrupted by several different Y chromosome intercepts that produce birth defects that was did on purpose in laboratories in Sumer. Right? Now that they got the birth defect, the only remedy is the original blood, one drop doctrine. Because Enki wrote the genome, he knew what to write to clean it up in the splicing program. Right? So when they talking about the story's fictional aspect, it's religious. But when you talk about its actual aspect, it's metaphysical and it's science and it's a star map. And it don't got nothing to do with what you believe. It got everything to know with how well can you read the signs.